All right, everybody. Welcome in to the Hoops Rehab Show on a Tuesday night. Eric, how you doing over there? Still wearing your yellow?
I know, right? Happy Cinco de Mayo, Taco Tuesday. I'm like just throwing everything else out other than that game
Yeah.
tonight. It's gonna be a rough one, guys. If you're a Laker fan, it's gonna definitely be a rough one.
Yeah. Happy Cinco de Mayo. And terrible loss by the Lakers, but that was to be expected when Vegas puts it at a 16-point favorite for the OKC, and they won by 18. So there you go, Eric.
Yeah, I know. Just when you thought, oh, maybe they'll, cover at least for those folks that are gambling, but they couldn't even do that.
Yeah. So we're going to get into the game tonight. Obviously, we're going to get into the Pistons and Cavs as well. We're going to go over Jared Vanderbilt's injury, kind of what that outlook looks like for the Lakers, especially in this series, because we need bodies, we need guys. And then we're also going to talk about Luka and whether or not there is a feasibility of him coming back at all in this series, and whether or not that needs to just be wrapped up right now and not even thought about. All right, Eric, let's get the show cracking.
Let's do it.
So, going into tonight, I didn't have major expectations. I felt like we're playing with house money. And if somehow we can steal, when you start talking like this, oh, if we steal game one, if we go in there, like obviously we knew like it was going to be as tough as possible. But let's go over the good things first, Eric. I know we're going to get pretty bad about the Lakers, but let's go over some good things.
Yeah.
Did you know that SGA ended his streak tonight of 20-point games? Wilt Chamberlain's record, his record now. However, they are saying that's just regular season, but this is the first time he's been held under 20 in a long damn time, Eric. So you got to give it up for the scheme that JJ came up with for SGA. What do you think about, at least about that?
Yeah, I mean, the good and the bad about that is, so obviously it's the game plan in terms of like his productivity. It worked to perfection. And so, yeah, we were talking about it before we went on air here. I think it was like October of 2024 or something was the last time that he hadn't scored 20 points. So, and it seemed like it. I mean, he was kind of turning the ball over quite a bit, just wasn't getting to the foul line like usual. And the bad, I just mentioned good and bad. The bad thing is, I mean, Lakers really didn't even come close to capitalizing on that. And so it's going to be tough because I can see next game adjustments are going to be made. He's probably going to go out and get you 40 or something crazy like that. And so that's the only thing is, hey, if they can keep it up and make the others beat you, and obviously they have the things with them, they have so like a lot of depth. So if one or two guys don't do it, the next two guys will do it, right?
Sure.
And so, but I mean, they're just a well-oiled machine. Even without J-Dub, they are a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. I mean, he got 3 free throw attempts, right? That's not his game.
Wow.
I know there's a video circulating around the internet right now of his best flops in this game. And yes, he does try to exaggerate the calls. But tonight, the refs weren't really buying it, and they weren't calling those because they weren't fouls. And I thought the Lakers did, like, for me, especially when you look at the first half, they did a great job of just being up in his grill the whole time and switching bigs onto him and making his life difficult. They would swarm him whenever he kind of got to the paint without leaving too much room for the people on 3-point line, right? They weren't coming down so far that there's a wide open 3. So they did a great job there. But like you said, man, they have so much damn talent that even if he's not going, somebody else is getting involved. And that's what the Lakers just don't have. Right? We don't have that off of our bench.
Yeah, I mean,
like Jake LaRavia, bless his heart. He played 82 games this season. He tries as hard as possible. Well, my man can't lay up the ball. He's not making any shots right now, and it's becoming a problem, I would have to say, on our bench because we're not getting any production out of him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a numbers game, and so you got a team that has a lot of good players, and then you got a team that has like probably just a couple of good players and some guys that Obviously, they played decent against Houston, especially at home. And so I don't know, like obviously every loss is, I don't know what's worse, right? It could be it's tough when you play a close game and you lose. It's tough when you get blown out from the beginning. But this loss was just like I felt like they paper cut you to death, right? So like, what I mean by that is, so every quarter they outscore the Lakers by 3 or 4, 4 or 5, 3 or 4, right? So it's not like these like crazy quarters, but it just chip away the lead. We saw it a bunch, right? It went from 4 to 11 real quick. And then the Lakers bring it down to 6. You're like, damn, they have like Austin Reeves, which we'll get into, I'm assuming, has a 3 shot, right? To get it to 3. He misses it, of course. Marcus Smart misses it, of course. And so it's going to be tough enough to win these games. And when you kind of are not hitting those timely shots, it's tough. And I kind of talked about it. I thought offensively there was going to be a struggle for the Lakers in the series. And it obviously was. And before kind of going on to the next point, I mean, I was kind of looking at the team statistics, and it was just to be honest. So OKC shot 85 shots. Lakers shot 84, right? So pretty even there. Rebound battle, 44-40. Lakers actually had 2 more offensive rebounds. Assists, so assists is a big factor. So 26-29. Like a lot of the kind of intangibles, right? Kind of wanted to turnovers 18-16, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we go into a game and you told me SGA gets under 20 and the turnover margin is 2, I mean, I would take that anytime, and I would with my chest out, like, "Ooh, we have a chance," right? Yeah. And so everything told you that it was a little bit closer than it was, but here we are. They lost by 18, and so I don't know. It's just frustrating because it's like you're not good enough, but OKC did some things out there to make you like think, man, if Austin Reeves could have just had a hot night or something, right? It could have made it closer, and unfortunately, it's just not what happened.
Yeah, I mean, if we can somehow find 33 points, you get my drift. Somehow we had 33 points off our bench, which would be Luka. I think this would be a different series, and that's the reality of it. Like when we get into Luka, I mean, I know we don't see everything at practice. I know we don't see everything at how he's looking, but from the videos we've gotten, it looks like he hasn't been moving around that well. Or at least not testing it in that way. You have Brian Windhorst going on the Dan Patrick show talking about, well, the real reason why he went to Europe was probably to spend more time with his kid, because when he had his kid, he only left the Lakers for basically 48 hours or 72 hours or so. So Lakers knew that this is a pretty severe hamstring injury, and they're like, hey, go get your rehab out there, spend some time with the family, and then make it back. Which would make sense, and that's probably what he did. But we don't know about whatever injections and things that he got.
Yeah,
we'll never know the truth about that.
But yeah,
we'll never know anything. We don't know what the real reason was, but we know this is a significant injury. So you're trying to somehow create hope that maybe he'll be back in middle of the series, but you got to win games for that to even happen, Eric. And game 2 is now the most important game. Are there any adjustments that they can make? Well, number one, we can get into Austin Reeves first before we go into to adjustments. Do you want to know how many shots Austin Reeves has made since he's been back, or kind of took?
Tell us. 14, I know he was 3 for 16 tonight. So
yeah, he's 14 for 46. That's a nice 30%. He's 0 for 9 in the last 2 games from 3. Now, with my medical background, I know that he's probably not fully healthy.
Yeah.
Like I think everybody can kind of sense that. He's playing and he's out there, but I don't think he's 100%, because otherwise you would see the 100% Austin Reeves, right? You can kind of see it when he's trying to move and he's not moving as well and getting to the basket as well. At times he can kind of spurt and kind of get to the rim, but he's not doing his typical kind of Euro type of positions, because that causes a lot of stress on the core. And he just doesn't have his legs under him either, right? Everything's short, and he's taking these shots, and they're just not falling. So he's getting some shots, and he's missing them. And he'll tell you the first thing: I'm missing the easy buckets, I'm missing the easy shots right now. And those are stuff that he always makes. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be time, if it's going to be one game that he finally clicks. Maybe that's game 2, but we're going to need a huge series out of him to even have even a chance in this series.
Yeah, or at the very least, just the best of Austin Reeves, so what he kind of does normally, or in the regular season. Like if they would have had that tonight and he would have scored 20 or something, right? It's a different ball game. There's like 3 or 4 times where he had, I don't want to say wide open because OKC is like really tough, but there was just shots that you just got to knock down, and that's the thing. Obviously, when you're injured, you come back. There's a lot of like pressure, I think, sometimes to come back, and maybe like then when you come back, from a fan's perspective, we just think of it, hey, you're playing, so just we want to see the old self, and so I don't know. I know it's probably a mix of things. I think it's a mix of the injury, just a little bit of the confidence. He's obviously winded, and it just also, I hate to say it, a little bit of like, is he gonna be the type that's gonna go on a great playoff run and help us to a finals appearance one day, right? And that's down the line. We'll have to see. But and I don't want to go there right quite yet because I know he's probably not 100%.
Yeah.
I'll give him an out. And OKC is tough as hell, and he's battling. It's not like he's out there like not trying and not. No. It's not that. It's just sometimes it's like, man, I gotta just hit some of those shots that are given to you.
Yeah. So we'll see if he can kind of pull it all together. But are there any major adjustments right now that they can make to change anything in this series right now?
I just think like you gotta just make sure, like defensively, right? I think you kind of got to go with the same game plan, and you got to give Lou Dort his 3-pointers. You got to give Alex Caruso, and they hit some ones that were just like, man, like backbreakers, and that's the crappy part, is they could hit those, but you kind of have to live and die by that. I think, and then offensively, just for them having for OKC having 16 turnovers, I take it they probably just weren't. I don't know if they weren't running on those turnovers, right, or what. But I mean, for OKC to have 16 turnovers and you guys only have 90 points, I'd have to kind of like look back and see, but just maybe got to find ways to get easy baskets. And I get probably the thought of like, no, we don't want to run with this team, right? We don't want it to be a track meet, but I mean, these grinded out possessions, half court, I mean, it's not going to work out. LeBron and Marcus Smart, I mean, I think they're probably were the most rejuvenated they're going to be in the series, because now they're going to start playing every other day, right? So yeah, I would say kind of pick their spots of trying to get easy baskets by, if they can cause 16 turnovers again, I mean, that's amazing. They got to just make sure that they capitalize on all those turnovers.
Yeah. I mean, I think defensively, I wasn't too mad about that. Like I felt like they played really well. Obviously in the fourth quarter, it kind of got out of hand, got away from them.
Second half. I mean, second half defense was pretty good, but
yeah. I mean, when they got down to 4 points, right? You're like, all right, you're in this game, ready to go. Gave up a quick 7 in a row, back up to 11. So that's the thing. The thing about the OKC Thunder is that they just make these spurts and go on those 7-0 runs so fast.
Bam.
And it's like turnover, 3, somebody gets fouled and 1, whatever it would be. And that's what they do. And I thought we didn't do well against Chet. And
we didn't talk about that. Yeah,
he'll be a problem for us. And that's because of size, right? And we really don't have the size, especially when they have 2 big men in there. They have Hartenstein and him together. I mean, it's like Aiden's going to take one, LeBron can take Chet, Rui can take Chet, and he's going to power over him. He's going to tower over him any day, right? So he can kind of get his own shot. He's being pretty physical for his size too. Now, I don't think you're like, oh, hey, Jared Vanderbilt, but now he's injured, right? So it's you can't really match him that much. I don't know how long he's going to be out. We're going to talk about it towards the end of the show. But I don't think we have a matchup, right? And it's similar to what I talked about yesterday with Minnesota and San Antonio. Is I
Yeah.
don't feel San Antonio has a matchup for Julius Randle. And sometimes you get into these series where you're just like, hey, this is a physical matchup that we're going to have the toughest time against. And I'm okay letting Chet kind of get his if SGA is not going off, but it's going to be a problem down the stretch.
Yeah, yeah. You obviously like you learn a lot in a game one, right? And so it's not often over after one game. Although this series is a little different, just because I felt like the Lakers were going to maybe still win us that game one, but it is what it is. But you see kind of some of the matchups and some of the kind of what's working and what might be an advantage. And yeah, it looks like Chet, for example, he's just a tough guard, and not only that, but he was getting like a lot of putbacks, offensive rebounds,
Yep.
just easy buckets down there, and so it's just not gonna be able to stop everything, and so again, they gotta limit that obviously, but yeah, the Lakers don't really have just the size, maybe a little bit of the strength, maybe they can kind of use that to their advantage against them. But yes, with Vando probably being out, that's obviously not going to help matters defensively, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's going to be, I think those two are going to be problematic. And then as far as the Lakers offense, I'm trying to think, how can they make an adjustment? Obviously, that would be Luca because we need the scoring. Is there
Yeah,
anybody on this bench that can give any effort? And it's like, gosh, I wish Dalton Connect could be that guy because we need a shooter. Like we just need a flat out shooter to come in and make some baskets. But he's just not that guy. Like we can't trust him right now. Like you're not going to bring him into the game right now. The only other person that's played positive minutes would be Bronny. And do you try to bring Bronny in here, create a little havoc against SGA, have him just pick him up 94 feet from the floor, and just tell him, hey, spend 5 to 10 minutes on him, hopefully get open for some threes, and we can get some baskets that way? Possibly. I think they're going to have to mix up some things, likely with Jared Vanderbilt out if he's going to be out for the next game or even the series. You're going to have to mix it up with somebody. And it's either somebody like that. I highly doubt it's Dalton Connect. And then there's somebody like Maxi Kleber that maybe you put him at the 4 and have him kind of stretch out Chet a little bit and bring him away from the basket. That's really the only options you got, Eric. I mean, is there anybody else on this bench that you feel like can come in and kind of get some minutes?
yeah, we're going down the list. Yeah, I mean, this is why, yeah, like Dalton Connect, right? It just obviously it's pretty bad that didn't work out. You get a first round draft pick, and 2 years later, he should be kind of part of the rotation. I mean, that's he hasn't been for a long time. But yes, like something like his offense, it could be a spark, right? He comes in, he makes 3 or 4 3-pointers, for example. Not going to happen, but I'm just saying it's, I mean, Nick Smith Jr. I mean, these guys, it's you're just throwing things at the wall and hope something sticks. They just have to get white hot from 3. So they shot 33s. They made 10 of them. They'd have to have a game where they make 17 of them, and so if they made 17 of them tonight, that's an extra 21 points, right? So it's like, it's knocking down some of the shots they got. I think they had some good looks that, just Kennard is just not quite kind of what he was towards the end of the season and the first couple of games against Houston. And maybe like we've talked about it, just kind of evening out like what he truly is. And so that's the definition of a role player. They have these maybe like moments and they're good at home. So yeah, long-winded answer, but it's just, they're going to have to just try to throw everything out there and see if something kind of sticks and see if they can get a game somewhere. But I don't know if I don't think it's going to happen, but
one of the biggest surprises for me is how exhausted they looked.
Yeah.
And that's partly because of what OKC does to you and makes you like, they really run, they really get physical. They're really swarming on defense. And that was exhausting for them. And you can see it. Like there's a time where I think it was in the first half and JJ's called a lot of timeouts. So they literally only had like 3 left.
Yeah.
And so they didn't call any timeouts. And you can just see it. I'm like, dude, those dudes are shot. Like they look like they're playing in Denver right now, like high altitude. They were not running. They were gassed. They were short on their shots. And that was part of the game that really kind of affected them, right? Because they could have cut it a little closer at that point.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I know they were talking about that on the telecast, like how they Lakers use all the timeouts or a lot of their timeouts.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Was one of them like the Vando injury or something, or it's just kind of weird how that worked out?
Yeah, that might have caused one injury timeout. And then I think JJ was just trying to like not let it get out of hand. There were
Yeah,
times where like they would make a run and he would kind of call, which is fine. And then I think you have to do stuff like that because it can really get out of the hand in the first half there.
very quickly. Yeah, and then
But yeah, they were exhausted, and so how does that look moving forward? They're not going to change their style of how they play. That's how they freaking play, right? So they got to figure it out. I do love the fact that JJ schemed really well in this game, so I know he's going to go watch the tape. He's probably going to be up, not sleeping at all over these next 48 hours.
Yeah.
And he's going to find a way to scheme it. I just don't know if we have the sheer talent right now to do anything about it without Luka.
Yeah. You can scheme all you want, and you can have like moments in games, but yeah, you got to have the players to do it. Obviously, the depth. We saw that they retired, as you mentioned, and so we'll have to see it. And I mean, if you think about it, it was probably like and this is what championship teams do. They win those end of quarters, and so the end of the first, end of the second, end of the third quarter were all kind of OKC, right?
For sure.
And that's probably the difference in the game, to be honest with you. So I know in the first quarter, I was like, okay, Lakers, might, if they can be up 4 or 5, the Lakers, and all of a sudden, bam, OKC was up 5. And then, and I remember in the end of the second half, Lakers missed an easy 3, not an easy 3, but an open 3. LeBron missed a tip in at the end. It's like, man, it should be like 4 or 5, but it was 9, or 8 or 9. And so, but I think that's what, honestly, like, I think that's what just OKC does probably, because they just dominate, and they sometimes it's like a slow, painful death, so to speak, or we have seen it as well that they just come out guns blazing. And so maybe game 2 will be that guns blazing game. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So there was another game on.
Yeah.
And
at the same time,
MC did it at the same time. So you kind of, luckily you got YouTube TV. So I kind of put the multitasking, but the multi-view, but I don't really like to do that in the playoffs, especially when you're already in the round 2. Anyways, Detroit Pistons ended up winning the game. The game got really close with Cleveland kind of tying it up at 93, and kind of Detroit turned it on and kind of pulled away there. Now, I was talking about them the other day, and I thought, obviously coming back 3-1 against the Magic and really clamping down in game 6, I thought they figured out something. And I think they continue to do that. They're playing more collectively as a team and not just Cade getting 45 or 39, things like that. You got Tobias Harris chipping in. You got Jalen Duran chipping in. You got other players, Duncan Robinson chipping in. So I think they're collectively coming together as a team, and defensively, that's where they shine too. So what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think so they obviously the first quarter they really dominated. They're up like 37-21. And then after that, Cleveland kind of settled in, and it was a really close game. Technically, they came back, and but yeah, obviously Pistons are playing with confidence. They were down 3-1. They had that crazy miracle, kind of obviously was a collapse by Orlando, but like as you talked about the other night, it looks like they did find something. Both of them came from, it was not like one of these games where one team had played a game 7 and the other team was chilling, right? So both teams played a game 7 on Sunday. So, it's probably even there in terms of like exhaustion and whatnot. Just kind of like, I thought James Harden and Donovan Mitchell, played okay. I mean, Harden 6 for 15. I just think, Detroit, if both teams play their game, I have to give the edge to Detroit. But I think they're going to just Cleveland's got to get some kind of performances from like Donovan Mitchell, I think, and or James Harden, right? Like kind of like they haven't really had any big games to me. It seems like these playoffs, and I don't know if it's past them. I don't know if it's not like maybe it's just hard because I don't know if they're redundant or something, but I think they're going to need some real big games from those two if they're going to get some wins in the series.
Absolutely. They're going to need a huge game from Donovan, like a 40-pointer, 35-pointer. And then also like they've kind of gotten mixed bag out of Jared Allen. Like, tonight he had 2, right?
Yeah.
And pretty much just played off the floor, only played 18 minutes. And the game 7, he's playing super well. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just like you can't have that in the playoffs where you got
Inconsistencies.
one
Yeah.
game he's playing really well, one game he's not. The one thing
Mobley too.
Cleveland does have is when you look at their lineup, they got a lot of talent. I mean, Jared Allen, you got Evan Mobley, Harden, and Mitchell, obviously. So you got 4 guys that really are talented. And if you look at sheer talent, that's probably more talented than what Detroit is. However, Detroit has Cade, and they got a hell of a defensive kind of lineup at times.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be like where they hone in on this series. Is Detroit's like defensively, I think they're just going to outplay Cleveland. Still think it's going to be a longer series, but I think Detroit's got this one pretty well.
Yeah, it seems kind of like, different from like OKC where you play like almost every guy. It's like both teams are really pretty dependent on their starters, playing pretty big size minutes other than Jared Allen, which is kind of crazy because he did have like that big game, a real productive game 7. And so, yeah, they're going to need some consistency there. I don't know how the folks, over there feel. I think Cleveland just sometimes the last couple of seasons, they've been, underachieving and whatnot. So this depends what Cleveland's team we see. But yeah, I think it could be one of those just long series. I have to give the edge to Detroit, who is playing better at this time, and they also have home court advantage. So we'll have to see what happens in game 2.
Yeah. So we'll see what both these teams, the Lakers and the Cavs, kind of respond in a game 2. I'm interested to see how San Antonio responds in game 2. I think they'll come out and it'll be a different type of game. But yeah, these all should be pretty good series and pretty long series. At least I hope the Lakers will be. Except that might be the one that, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a tough team to beat, but we got to learn to get one. We don't know if we're gonna get Luka back, and we can't bank on that. So you got to have somebody step up and kind of get there.
Yeah, I think it's for going back to the Lakers. If they get one, it's going to be early in the series as the series moves along, and you kind of know that you just really, they'll never say it, but that you probably have no chance. It's like it's just going to be night, real soon. And so, I kind of give them maybe one game, and so that game would probably come in game 2 or 3, and obviously we'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be the game 2s are obviously they're swing games for the teams that lost at home, which I think it was just San Antonio. Game 2 is huge especially obviously for San Antonio, and then for a team like Philly, I mean it's really big because they played very poorly in game 1. They got blown out. Knicks have just been on fire, and so they have to prove that they can at least be in a close game and maybe get a W. So that'll be another good one.
I think they'll be at least a little bit more rested and be more at their game. So we'll see. And Nick Nurse actually had to leave for a funeral for his brother, right? So not sure if he'll be coaching tomorrow, but prayers out to his family and everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's a big factor too. So,
yeah. All right. So we did have an injury tonight, and that was Jared Vanderbilt. Pretty gruesome injury when you look at it, especially when you slow down on a different replay. Basically got his pinky caught on the backboard trying to block Chet's shot, and his pinky went the other way. So it fully dislocated, kind of looked like the bone was going out of the skin as well. So that will kind of determine, if it was just a standard dislocation, pop back in and tape it up, I think he would be fine because he's left-handed. But because of the bone was popping out, most of the time they have to reset there, make sure there's no fracture, but there's also like a laceration in the skin, so that can cause like an infection, things like that. So you got to make sure no nerves, arteries, anything was kind of like cut in that situation. So hopefully they're able to reset, put it in a little splint, and we'll see. I mean, it is his right hand. He might be able to kind of gut it out because it's his pinky. Typical dislocations, obviously, people are going to go, oh, Kobe would just pop it in and go play. Yes, that would happen sometimes. But this is one of those rare ones when you got so much force hits the backboard and it's pretty much going 90 degrees. So you got to make sure that joint is intact, everything, nerves, arteries are all good. Then you got to splint it, and then hopefully he'll be able to come back in this series at some point. I would think he might miss next game, but hopefully it's not too severe and he can tape it up, kind of splint it up, and maybe have a chance to play.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was going for that block, gruesome injury, or it looked like it hurt. We saw him crunched over. I didn't realize it hit, like, I didn't know what it was at first, but yeah, I depending on the severity of it, like you said, the nerve damage and like the bone, if it's broken, things like that. Obviously his style of play and whatnot, is by no means a shooter, and maybe that would keep him from shooting threes, which might be a good thing. But obviously, yeah, he's not going to be out there if it's like a danger of getting worse or getting really bad. And so I could see him missing a game. And if need be, he'll maybe play game 3, I guess. But it just, like, they're not going to win or lose the series because of having Vando, but it's just another guy that's just out, and you need guys to fill out these minutes, right? And LeBron and Marcus Smart, I mean, they can't play they can't play 48 minutes or not even close to it. And so, yeah, it's getting pretty tough out there for them right now.
Yeah, and like obviously we need the big guys, right? It's gonna be a tough series with Chet and Hartenstein and Jalen Williams and all that stuff. And I mean, shit, they haven't had the real Jalen Williams come back either yet. So if he comes back in the series, just kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap up that pinky and wrap up the series.
Yeah. So hopefully we can hear some good news tonight, tomorrow. That maybe it's not as severe as it looked, but I'm not too optimistic that he plays the next game.
Yep. We'll have to see.
All right, Dick. So before we get out of here, got any other thoughts on your Lakers?
Nah. I guess it's tough because you know what's going to happen, but then when you actually watch the game and they go up 7-0, you're like, ooh, and they have played close to first quarter. That's what it's about, right? You kind of dream about the a miracle happening, and but it doesn't seem like it's going to. So we'll see. We'll ride it out these next 4 games and go from there.
Yep. All right. So we'll be back on. We'll see. Today's Tuesday. We'll probably be back on Thursday. Kind of recap the Lakers and the previous game 2 days. But until then, guys, Hoops Rehab team is out. We will see you guys later. Peace out, guys.